So I don't know how many years ago this is. Maybe this is, I think this is pre-COVID. So maybe 2016, 2017, something like that. So maybe about 9 or 10 years ago, or or maybe even before, maybe over 10 years ago, is when this took place. Which is, I was in the house alone because my mom was in Korea or something like that. She was away from the house, and I was alone in the house for the time being with the pets, but still the only human in the house. And I was in my room trying to sleep in the dark with um, all the lights off, and I was in bed with the blanket on me, and um, just trying to fall asleep like a normal night. And I suddenly see something appear, and so I look at what it is, and it's a sliver of light right where the wall in front of me in the distance meets the ceiling. You know that ledge, that line where the wall meets the ceiling? About this long, the size of a kind of a long, elongated finger. There's a sliver of light right where that line is, and I was like, I started staring at it. I'm like, huh, that's weird. Where's that light coming from? So I looked behind me where the only window is. Um, the blinds were done, and then the curtains were done on top of that. I checked outside. There was no light source. I then I redid the blinds and then the curtains, and the line was still there. I was like, okay, so it's not the window. And then the door was black because all the lights were off in the house. So there was no light coming in through my door. And then I checked my phone, which is the only electric thing in my room, that possible light source. And my phone was just, the screen was off. The flashlight was off too. And I was like, huh, okay, so none of those are the light source. And then, so I'm trying to look at all this, and it's not none of those. And I keep staring at the light, and I'm like, maybe it's my eyes. So I move my eyes back and forth, left and right, up and down, to see if the light source moves with my eyes, right? Because if it moves with my eyes, then it's my eyeballs. That's something's wrong with my eyeballs, and that's why I'm seeing the light, and it's a problem with my eyes. So I was doing that. I was moving left and right, up and down, but the light didn't move. It was at the same place on the wall where the wall meets the ceiling. And I was like, okay, so it's not my eyes either. I'm like, what the hell is that thing? And so I keep staring at it intently, and then it just disappears. It disappears like it was never there. And then as soon as it disappeared, I got scared. My heart kind of dropped, and I was like, what the fuck was that? Why did it suddenly disappear? And where was that light source coming from? And I was so freaked out by it. I started messaging my friend who was up at that time, and he was like, yo, that's freaky. Maybe it's an alien, or what the hell was that? I was telling him I checked every possible light source. There was nothing in the room or from outside that could have been the light. And I was kind of freaked out, and I was trying to calm down. It took me a while to calm down, maybe close to an hour before I was able to fall asleep. But that event stuck with me. That inexplicable light source, that sliver of light, as I call it, a sliver of light. And so it stuck with me for a long time. I even told my uncle when he was visiting, my uncle from New York, when he visited Toronto, I told him about it. And I was like, I have no explanation for that. I checked every light source, and there was really no light from the room or outside. And then he goes, maybe it was an alien staring at you. I was like, oh, yeah, maybe it was an alien staring at me. And then, if you've been following my channel, I started having an open communication and a dialogue with God starting March 3rd of this year, 2026. So I'm talking with God, and she appears in the form of a woman, so that's why I call her a she. And she brings up this memory of the light source, the sliver of light. And I'm like, oh, why are you bringing that up now? And so I was thinking, are you trying to tell me that that sliver of light was you? And then I can see her because I see visions of her, and she says, what was the expression she had? She had her hands like this with her fingers like folded like this, and her legs were twisted like they are twisted when a girl stands with it, like crossed legs, and then she's kind of twisting her body like this, and then she goes, maybe. And then I was like, okay, that seems very suspicious. When I asked her, was that her? I'm like, okay, so I was like, so I started having a chat with AI. I was like trying to analyze the body language, and I'm like, what was she trying to say? She clearly knows something I don't, but doesn't want to tell me, wants me to figure it out for myself. And Claude was like, that is textbook having fun with you knowing what it is, and you knowing she knows you know, but she's just waiting for you to find out yourself instead of her telling you on the spot. I don't know if that made any sense, but if you were following, then you follow. No guess. Anyway, so so then I was like, okay, let's maybe it's you. Okay, let's say it's you. And then she goes, ha. And what did she say? She went, ha. Yes, it was me, and something like that. But it was in a really excited way. I'm downplaying it. She was like, she's really animated. She was like, yeah, it was me. And then I was like, okay, if it was you, then was it you were just showing me this from the inside? Because she sees through my eyes as well. She experiences what I experience, just like she experiences what everyone experiences through the base awareness of our being. So she experiences everything we experience firsthand. God does. And then I was like, were you showing that me from my point of view? So you were just showing me this third thing, this third person thing, or were you looking at me through that light sliver? And she doesn't answer immediately. And then what did she do? She was like, this time she was looking up to the top right corner. She was looking like this with her hands behind her back, and she was twisting, and she said, I don't know. And then I was waiting for a while. I was waiting for her to reply and give a more solid answer. And then she played in my head the memory of my uncle saying, maybe it was an alien staring at you through the light. And I was like, oh shit, you were staring at me through that light. And then she started like grabbing her belly and going, and like belching out and laughing. Very animated as always. So I was like, oh shit. And you know, I've had her the experiences that I've had with God have been, she's in total control of synchronicity, meaningful coincidences. So she can choose what random shuffle playlist music is going to come on next so that the lyrics exactly match or are in succession of messages that she intends to say, or the timing is just right with the moment based on what's happening in my life. And I've seen her do that. I've even seen her do things like the timing of other people entering at perfect timing when I'm perfectly interrupted at the perfect moment. I've seen stuff like that before, synchronicity, but that's just playing with the pieces, right? That's just that's synchronizing the events, using the pieces on the chessboard and just moving at them at the just right time. But you're not altering physics. You're not doing the impossible. It's all within the rules of the game. But creating a light source, bending some kind of light that, or shining some light that's non-existent onto a wall, or the where the wall meets the ceiling, a light sliver, that's bending the rules of physics. That's like not even possible with physics, because if there's no light source in the room, how can there be light shining? It's like a solid wall. There's nothing behind the wall either. It was just complete darkness, and there was a impossible light there. And I was like, oh my, like I didn't know. That was when I realized, like, she's able to even bend physics and break the rules, and that's possible. And that's when I was like, damn, I expected, perfect synchronicity, because I've experienced that many times now, but bending the rules of physics, or even breaking the rules of physics, that is something that it's hard to wrap my head around. And then I realized, like, she's not in my world, coordinating things from the inside of me. She's the dreamer of this world, and everything, including me, including you, we're all the dream stuff of God, right? God is dreaming up a dream so intricate and detailed and realistic that everything takes a life of its own. But she's the one dreaming up all of it. And so her dreaming up, bending the rules of the dream to show me an impossible light source is totally well within, no guess, is totally well within her powers as the dreamer. She is the dreamer. We are the dream stuff. We are the dream stuff of God's dream, and we're all in God's dream. So that was a bit mind-bending. That was a bit mind-blowing. She's actually able to bend or break the rules of physics. That's crazy. I guess this dream is not exactly what it seems, and even the rules of the dream are, as Morpheus says in The Matrix, some rules can be bent, others can be broken. I guess this really is the Matrix, except for the Matrix is God's dream, not some machine-generated dream world, but God's dream, and we're all just the dream stuff of God. At the same time, she sets the parameters, and some things just take a life of its own, just like an author who writes a novel and creates a character. Sometimes, you hear this quite often, where the author will be surprised by what the character does, because once you create a character and put it in certain situations, the character sometimes surprises you. Even the author does things that the author did not anticipate or expect. And that's what we are to God. Sometimes we do things that even God does not expect, even though God set the parameters. And obviously, from a fourth dimension being, God can see exactly how it plays out. But as you're flipping through the novel or writing the novel in real time, God really does experience surprise by us sometimes, get surprised by us. So I've had her be surprised by me a few times. Not that often, but rarely, but it happens, where she's surprised by what I did or said, and she'll like laugh out funny because I do something that she didn't expect. So God experiences surprise by entering the veil of this dream and living this dream with us, and experiencing things through us and watching us experience things. So that was interesting, to a conversation that I had with her, where she revealed that she was that light sliver looking at me through that light sliver that many years ago, like a decade ago. And she brought it up today to tell me that sliver was her, and it was her all along. And it was only now that she was able to tell me that. Until now, it was a complete mystery, but I guess it's mystery solved and case closed, as the anime is titled, starring Conan, the Japanese detective anime. So I'll leave it at that.